And we are back. Welcome back to the Grand Prix, the Women's Grand Prix here in Gibraltar. And I'm delighted to be joined by our very first guest, Women Grandmaster Dana Reizniece-Ozola.
Hi, Fiona.
Welcome, Dana.
Good to see you here.
It's a pleasure having you here. You have so many different positions. We already talked about it with Nigel, you were the Minister of Economics, also of Finance of Latvia. Nowadays you're the Managing Director of FIDE, so tell us a little bit about how it has all been going for you, this new career now in chess politics.
I've joined FIDE since the beginning of this year, and that's probably the smartest decision lately that I've taken. I do enjoy my work. It's not easy, it's difficult, but it's challenging. But that's what I like so much. And I see that among my missions, it is really to give the new features in the face of FIDE, not only concentrating on this kind of events for the professional chess players, but also further develop the social part of chess being used for the good of the society.
Well, there's a lot of challenges surely ahead, but exciting times, as you mentioned. And tell us a bit, what is it that you do here in Gibraltar? I saw you also at the recently concluded candidates tournament in Yekaterinburg. So what is it that you do like this when you're traveling to the tournament?
I had the pleasure to make the first move, yes, to open the tournament, but actually, yes, FIDE is present at these kind of tournaments to make sure that everything is organized at the top level, which is the case here in Gibraltar. As I said that during my opening speech, this is a new chapter in the continuous support of Gibraltar to chess in general, and also particularly to ladies, and that's why we are happy that the final stage of the Women's Grand Prix series has been organized here, postponed twice, but finally everybody has managed to arrive despite all the restrictions that are still strong here. And normally you say that all is good that ends well, but I think that the beginning is also very important.
Absolutely,
the way you start, the way it drives afterwards.
But everyone is here, everyone has made it. One of the things, I didn't mention it yet because you have so many different, you're an accomplished politician these days with this top position in FIDE, but of course you're a very strong chess player in your own right, women grandmaster, but most notably you defeated Hu Yifan at the Baku Olympiad back in 2016, so I'm sure you also have a keen interest in what's going on in the games. So do you want to...
Of course, let's have a look. So
let's jump into it.
We've already had one game finished, yes.
One game finished, I guess, not surprising.
Didn't fight strongly each against the other.
Nigel and I said I kind of understand it that the sisters don't want to play. Nigel said he thinks they should play. What is your opinion?
I do understand them, especially because it's the first round. If it would be later, decisive round, I would be willing them to play and fight harder, but I think it's a nice excuse. Still, yes. So let's have a look, yes. Nana against Katerina. So for the next half an hour, there would be only girls in jazz, yes, and chess. So girls playing.
Perfect.
And two of them commenting.
Yeah. Actually, what did you make? We saw you on the camera making the opening move of the tournament. How is it? There hasn't been too many women's tournaments in these pandemic times, high-level tournaments. How did you feel that the atmosphere was in the playing hall?
Because everybody is hungry already, not only the ladies, but you could see actually the tension already in the air. It takes time to get concentrated, and also to have the sense of touching the real pieces. I guess it's also
very
special
different,
for them. Yes.
And I'm curious to see how the tournament is going to go, because women tournaments in general always so fighting, so many decisive results. So
till the naked kings. Yes. So that was my wish to the ladies today. There's a saying that a flower does not think of competing to the flower standing next to her. It just blooms. So
I like that.
I wish them to bloom. Yes,
Yeah.
to have this beautiful games and grace.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure we will see a lot of that. But of course, there's so much at stake. Two places to
qualify. Yes, and,
for the candidates, and this is actually a big game. Let me just take you back. We haven't seen this game in a long time, so we're looking at the game between Nana Agnincze and Katerina Lagno. So we left it off here after Bishop E3. So it's been a while since we looked at that game, and I'll give you. I know you're my guest here, but I'll leave you do the work. I'll let you take control of the mouse, and we'll see what we missed in this game.
So what has happened during the game? Yeah, I kind of like the position of the white pieces because there's some dynamics. I mean, they can advance the pawns on the queen side and optimize their rook, kind of playing along the semi-open lines.
Yeah, maybe bring the rook to C1.
C1, yes, I guess, and then at some point probably even promote the pawn to B5.
Yeah, the question is the pawn structure is completely
whether it's
symmetric.
enough, whether it's enough, because
exactly,
there are no real weaknesses. That's the
Yeah.
major thing. You know, if you happen to create a weakness in the opponent's game, then you've got the target to attack. Now it seems to be quite a dynamic position, but you're right that there are no real weaknesses in the black's fortress.
Yeah, I think we both like. I think most people would like white when they look at this, just because, I mean, we have more space, we have the more active pieces. But the question is, if black continues, black has done a great job so far, trading quite a few pieces. So we will see. Yeah,
a very strong symmetry, yes. Even though there is no black squared bishop in the black's position, also the white bishop would be changed, and that's again, you know, somehow equalizes the position, and you are not in the position to use the weaknesses. Probably there might be some ideas with I don't know, at some point knight G4 and knight
to H6.
H6, yes.
Checkmate.
Some distant mate ideas, yes.
I like the way you're thinking.
So always keep the royal man in your focus.
But
yes.
it's a great point. I mean, I hadn't actually, it's a great point you're making, just that the black king in some positions could become quite weak because black played this fianchetto with G6, but then the bishop disappeared.
Black knights are somehow distant, far away, left the royal king alone. So what happens in the other games?
Yeah, so let's go to this one, Alina Kashlinskaya against Valentina Gonina. We've been talking about it.
For Valentina, it's very difficult because she just arrived today. I guess she's extremely tired, but I hope that he manages to pull herself together and play this game decently.
Yes. So here we didn't miss too much. I think we left it off after B4. We were showing that she couldn't take the pawn, so she dropped back to C7, and that's basically where we left off. So Alina played A5.
And black tries to somehow open up the position with C5. The question is whether I could not use the parallel blockade with B5 at some point.
I'm also curious because Nigel had been talking earlier about that pawn on C6. The reason that even landed there was to control the squares on B5
and D5, which I guess now Alina tries to use at this with this very move, bishop G5 and G5, probably, you know, destroying the knight on F6 and then coming with hers to C3 and D5, yes, or B5, and then suddenly it seems that this black pawn might be used as a hat on the opponent's eyes, yes, because the bishop is restricted, the queen as well, and somehow the white
Also, you move b5, the b pawn might be pushed further. I really like Kashlinskaya's position here.
That's right.
But she is actually, now we see on the screen, we see the clock time. So Alina only has 45 minutes on the clock. So half her allocated time is gone, while Valentina, she often plays quite fast.
Yes.
And I think especially in a way it makes sense when you're, I mean, she literally just arrived here at the hotel 3 hours before the round started, which is, as you mentioned, a very tough position to be in. But I feel that it's probably for the best to rely more on instinct and not to overthink things. And
you
I
mean
think
to switch the autopilot on, yes.
Kind of, yes.
And rely on instinct, as you said, yes. So.
But we'll see if she can. But I mean, also she's such a tricky player. So the more
Valentina is trying to keep it all controlled. You know, the revolver knights, as my coach would say, as the two connected knights. Now it was probably the smart move, because if White would now try to take the knight on f6, Black would answer with another one, controlling still the b5, and immediately it's not possible to promote the pawn to b5 because the a5 pawn is hanging. Yes. Yes. So she's somehow still keeping the control over the position.
Absolutely. Yes. We'll have to keep an eye mostly on the clock, because Alina actually, as we see already, down to 37 minutes and still 20 moves to make. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And we'll move down the lists.
Zhensaya against Dinara.
Yeah, so this one, it was Nigel was slightly surprised. We haven't...
so two compatriots.
Yeah, the two compatriots, but I think one of them surprised the other. I don't know where or how, but basically they spent...
Judging by time?
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on this, playing these standard moves, let's say in the Italian. Of course, there's a lot of different nuances, but I still think one of the players was surprised. We left it off, I think, here after bishop e6. So let's see what happened after bishop e6. White decided actually to not take and do nothing with that bishop, but just went knight to d2. If you guys see us doing weird movements on the camera, there's a fly flying around. Dana has been dealing with it much more gracefully than me, because I sometimes just jump. So if you think I'm going crazy, though, it's just a fly.
So Fiona, you see that Dinara has exchanged her bishop against the jumping knight. I mean, I think it's always difficult to give your bishop away, yes, but since this one was already, you know, approaching the focal points close to the black king, that was probably already a forced decision, taking on e3.
Yeah, because it's when these, was it Kasparov who said about the knight?
You could sell your mother-in-law, for a knight on f5. That's the classics. So it seems that Dinara remembers this quote very well,
Because the knight looked extremely scary if it was going to land on f5. So after bishop takes, now Zhensaya has captured with the bishop.
With the bishop, yes.
Yeah, and d5 was played.
d5 immediately. Probably, some dynamics is already needed. Otherwise, the problem might be that we've got another knight coming in, yes, and if no reaction follows from the black side, that could cause some headache.
Yeah, we always have to make sure that there's no knight e4, but I don't know if there's, but yeah, for sure, knight h4, at least getting the knight to f5 is a big threat. So yeah, d5 I think makes sense.
So d5 was the move, yes.
To play actively, fight for the center.
It's always difficult with these positions. I mean, you shouldn't be too fast. I mean, too early. You know, you have to optimize all your pieces before you open the center. But then again, it's very careful. I mean, you have to be very careful not to be too late. Yes. And
yeah, I find these Italian games very tough because there's so many details, and if you just make a tiny little imprecision, you can get punished, and so they're very tough to understand. But let's see, Zhensaya just made a move.
A solid move, queen c2.
yeah.
Yes. Of course, you are normally not taking the pawns like d5 in the center, because that would just allow the black knight to centralize itself. Yes, so
maybe we can show that actually. So you're saying after d5 we don't really want to take, because after knight d5 we're just helped black's cause with this knight now being quite active, and also we've lost our nice central.
So that's one lesson that my coach has always taught me. So the smartest one never takes a pawn in the centrum. Yes, you keep the tension strong and try to push the opponent.
I like the way
to beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somehow, I mean, it's kind of a universal rule, and which works quite often very well.
But it's a great way to remember things. I'm a big fan of your coach already.
Thank you.
So yeah, queen c2 was played, and queen
d7. Yes. Yeah. So you see that both players are maneuvering. Yeah, queen d7 with an idea most probably to centralize the rook. The only rook that doesn't work yet would most probably then come and help in the center. But I can keep the balance, of course, with getting my rook to the centrum as well. But the trick is, of course, that if at the moment when I put my rook on d1, black can block the centrum, yes, using the opportunity to neutralize my heavy pieces.
Position I find to evaluate. Would you rather play with white or?
I think it's balanced. I mean, both parties do have their opportunities and have played solidly. Yes.
Yeah. And also on the clock we see the players there. The big zoom in on the camera. Quite evenly matched, 56 minutes to white, 51 to black. So I agree with you in the balance, and but action could happen here later.
And you see that both players have supplied themselves with some energy resources, well prepared for their long game today. Yeah.
Which team are you on? Team chocolate or team
nuts? Team nuts. As long as I do not become nuts, I prefer the healthy snacks. But actually, for me, it disturbs me if I try eating something during the game. I try not to do that. I drink a lot.
For yourself? Or
yeah, for myself. For myself. I mean, I don't. Somehow it takes too much of attention away.
Interesting.
So I like drinking a lot of water, tea, coffee, everything else, but not that much of the snacks.
We'll see, because here I think we'll keep an eye on this, see the other players if we can spot some more snacks, but we'll see how they go on about. Thankfully, they only have one game per day here, so we haven't talked about that yet, but it's a round robin tournament, of course, so every player plays each other
it's very
once.
challenging for them to concentrate on chess because the surroundings is so nice. And I was swimming in the sea today, and the sun is shining, and then the water is warm, at least compared to the Baltic Sea. Yeah. So, and they have to, spend the best hours with a chessboard, not only playing. You know very well that they most probably spend
a lot of
hours preparing. Nevertheless, I guess they have already come well prepared with their variations in their pockets, in their heads, and in their computers. But still, I mean, it's always also the analyzing of the previous game.
Of course,
you cannot get to bed if you have not understood your mistakes of the day, and
you're not going to enjoy the sea too much during the tournament.
Really, that's true. That's true.
So 2 games left. Let's look at Mammadova next against Stefanova. So this one we left it off.
So the young talent against the former world champion. Yeah, quite a nice.
It's a nice
battle
mix-up. Actually, I don't know if you can tell us a few words about Gonina Mammadova, because she's one of the players in the field that I know least about. I know she's only 20 years old.
This is something that, that I also know about her. But
we'll have to get to know her. We'll bring her in
a few
the
days
studio.
ahead to understand her playing style
we'll ask her,
and character.
But today, well, a big game, as you mentioned, against former women's world champion Antoaneta. She's so experienced, such a strong player. And actually, we left things off here after White took on f6, and Nigel was saying she must be debating either to take on f6, or he was thinking maybe she's thinking to throw in this bishop takes e3, which Antoaneta went for. So after bishop takes, White recaptured, and I was thinking that okay, this is for me, a very interesting position. I think positionally, you know, Nigel was talking about all the weaknesses, like the weaknesses of the dark squares, for example, c5, and then how that pawn structure is not ideal. But I always think a semi-open f-file with black.
Semi-open f-file with black, but can you really make use of that? I mean, the d5 pawn, that's quite a nice supporting pawn for the light piece, kind of knight on e4, but here you see that White has managed to exchange the knight, and now I guess it's more of a weakness on d5. Yes. My white square bishop plays perfectly well, and then probably rook e1, and there is some tactical opportunity as well, probably at some point, you know, taking in d5 and then bishop d5. So that's, you know, kind of a daydreaming. I know, I'm pretty sure that Antoaneta controls the situation, but it's very easy, I guess, to play with white pieces. Of course, it's not.
No, but I mean, with the latest developments, you've convinced me. I'm not seeing the attacking chances that I was dreaming of.
Yes, and then again, you see that there is another option to advance the a pawn on the queen side, trying to create another weakness. Yes, probably not, you know, getting your a rook to the center, but to open another file for it. Yes, so it's quite challenging for the ex-champion to find the nice plan how to continue with.
Yeah, and Mammadova, on the other hand, it's her debut in the Grand Prix. She will be looking, you know, to start with a.
They are a perfect match. You see what a nice picture, the black and white. Yes, those ladies are in style.
Very nice indeed. We see. Are we seeing snacks? We see no snacks here. We see some cups. I think Antoaneta, she always drinks Coke. Yeah. For as long as I can, and then we see some coffee cups or tea, something, which I got about to get refilled. So we'll come back to this one, but it looks like White is doing well. And the final one...
For Antoaneta, I guess it's also quite challenging to concentrate fully on the tournament, because as I know...
She's also gone into politics.
She is now in the pre-election time, and I know how much energy it takes off you. And, you know, Kaisa, the goddess of chess, she's a very jealous lady. Yes? She wants to have full your attention.
Your full attention, yeah.
So I hope she manages.
Yeah, we'll see. A tough situation maybe today. And the final game, Bulmaga against Pates. This was one of the sharpest, well, probably the most sharpest. Came here from a Najdorf, and we left it off after...
So White has castled long. The black king is still in the centrum.
Yeah. So we left it here, and we were sort of wondering, you know, we had looked at another line where knight d5 was an idea. Well, probably here it doesn't quite work.
Knight d5 it's too early, because the black pieces do control the d5 5 point, and you would just cover your rook with your pawn.
Yeah, we were looking at this line, for example, here, with the king simply hiding on d8.
D8, whoa. Kamikaze king, yes.
Yeah. And Nigel at least thought that this should be good should be good for black, especially with the bishop from b7 controlling the c6 square.
Okay, and Nigel was not afraid of the fact that the black pieces are kind of underdeveloped yet with bishop on f8
I said I would be a bit afraid as black, but he said no.
Everything is under control.
Everything's under control.
I would prefer the white pieces with a knight on c3. C3. I mean, I'm ready to sacrifice this pawn. If only it helps me to open up the white squared bishop, yes. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable with the black king there on d8. But probably that's a ladylike thinking, yes. Too precocious, because yes, chess is, I mean, for we ladies, we tend to be more intuitive players, yes, but chess is actually a very precise mathematical game, yes.
Nigel is going to be back with us in a few minutes, and he's probably going to dismantle our analysis.
Presumptions and all the positions, yeah, but let him do that. I challenge him.
He's hiding right now. But yeah, so in this position, maybe knight d5 was an option, but Irina decided to go for f5. And now I guess things are gonna get, I was gonna say wild, but black keeps the centrum closed for now, and the knight retreats to b3, and we only had one more move here, so knight b6.
So knight b6 not only controls the d5 point, but also most probably strives further to create some tactical opportunities once again. Yes, knight c4 with an option to, you know, probably take the pawn on a3 or the b3 while the knight on c3 is hanging. Yeah, so
yeah, once again, it's
kind
a
of
very
nice counterplay. Very dynamic position and sharp one.
Yeah,
which is normally the case if the kings, you know, do not reside in one area. Then it's always, you know, the question who is going to be the first.
For sure, and
finding
also
the weaknesses.
Absolutely, and we were talking earlier as well that every move, if you're not fast enough, every move can be deadly in these kind of sharp
one
positions.
Small mistake and your fortress is destroyed and your king mated.
Yeah. So that's our little tour of all the games. What are you making of this?
Very exciting ones, so diverse. I mean, we had the positional ones, we had the aggressive or tactical ones. We see that the younger ladies do not have any strong respect to the more experienced ones. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish chess worked like that. When you play kids, that they show you.
This is something. I mean, once again, I would remind of one of my teachings of my coach was always to concentrate only on the position and play the best move possible, never thinking of the opponent. I never learned that. I never learned that. I always take into consideration who the opponent is. But actually, that's something that I like very much, because at the end of the day, chess is an interaction between two human beings, and this is something that I like.
Very true. I mean, I agree that your coach is probably right, but I also find it tough to remove my focus from who is sitting there, especially if it's a young child. They tend to be very, you know, like, I'm not saying, of course, Gonina, she's not a child any longer, but yeah. Anyway, Dana, thank you so much. Maybe before I let you go, tell me what's next for you within FIDE. You told us you're very busy, so what's coming up next?
Different social projects. The last one that we organized, that was Chess in Prisons. Yeah, it's a demonstration match where 4 different countries were fighting, and the inmates of the countries were fighting each against the other, and we co-organized the conference. Then the next one is a big women chess event.
Okay, fantastic.
Also organized by our Women Commission. The whole year round there would be several regional online tournaments, not particularly aimed at the top level players, but for the big numbers of players getting involved, where they would not only play chess but also have an opportunity to attend lectures and seminars on mental health and how to combine the professional chess life with the kids and the private life.
The flies,
crazy flies. It's entertaining us, yes. So these kind of projects.
Very nice, so very exciting. And where can people, where is the best place to keep following all that you're up to on the FIDE website?
FIDE social network, Facebook, Instagram, and of course our homepage.
Of course. So
and subscribe for the newsletter.
the
newsletter.
So remember to do that. Subscribe to the newsletter, follow on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course check out the FIDE website. Dana, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
And don't switch off. It's a short break and Fiona is coming back with Nigel's analysis.
Absolutely. We will be back shortly, so don't go anywhere. Dana, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. My pleasure.